Did the monkey just talk?
We need Kong. The world needs him.
Godzilla will come for him. That would be a death sentence.
I know Gia is only a child, but she's the only one he'll communicate with. And we need Kong.
Here we go.
This won't end until one of them submits.
Are you sure the monkey's gonna survive this?
It's us I'd worry about.
She's so massive.
And this child, she's the only one he'll communicate with. We need Kong. The world needs him to stop what's coming.
It's Godzilla.
Mr. Resident is out. These are dangerous times.
Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people and we don't know why.
There is something provoking him that we're not seeing here.
The myths are real. There was a war, and they're the last ones standing.
Nobody gonna stop for me.
Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my new Godzilla vs. Kong trailer video. They dropped a bunch of new footage, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I will be doing more videos for the movie when it comes out at the end of the month, too. Just a couple more weeks to go, but the new footage starts with that full scene of Godzilla showing up to fight Kong on the carriers earlier in the movie. The Air Force pilots try to slow him down with their standard missiles, but he just soaks the damage and then swats them away like they're a couple of flies. Even though we all expected this, it's hilarious how quickly he just blows through all their ordnance. All the battleships open fire on him. I think these are the 50 caliber guns, I'm not totally sure about that. But they just want you to see that they're unloading everything they have on him as he swims up while they're carrying Kong. Predictably, he uses his tail to smash through two of the ships like it's no big deal. One of the anchors catches on his body and he takes half of the ship for a ride underwater. Then you have Kong grabbing the other side of the anchor chain and reeling it in like it's some kind of crazy fishing line, like he's fishing for Godzilla's. Got a real big one this time, gotta bring it in. Then Godzilla comes swimming up to Kong's ship. Then presumably this is right before Kong peeps over the side of the ship, screams into the water. Then Godzilla surprises him by launching out of the water and onto the top of the ships. Then they start duking it out and Kong winds up going into the water, floundering for a second until he gets his bearings. And if it wasn't clear, Kong can swim, at least canonically he can swim. We just haven't seen him do it in any of the new films so far in the Monsterverse. It's just the whole idea with this first carrier fight is they're trying to show you is that Godzilla has the big advantage because he's just at home in water as he is on land. In fact, just because of the way his body is, because of the way he carries his weight around when he's on land, I would say he's actually a better fighter when he's in water because he can still give off all the same attacks when he's underwater. He can still do his atomic breath, he can still do his atomic burst, all of his physical attacks work the exact same. But when he's in water, he's not forced to carry all that weight around with him, so it's not quite as much of a disadvantage. The only real titans that would have a big advantage on him in deep water would be like your true water-based titans, like a giant octopus. The director of the movie did actually say there would be a clear winner in the Godzilla vs. Kong fight, but here's the thing with that. I think he was specifically talking about this first fight on the carriers here. I don't think he was talking about the entire movie, because there's clearly a bunch of different fights during the film. Like first when they go to pick up Kong, there's a couple fights in the movie just to set up how badass he is. Then you have the carrier fight with Godzilla and Kong earlier in the film. Then you have all this footage of the later fights when they're in the cities. And there's a couple different fights, like you have Godzilla versus Kong in the cities. Then you have the whole idea of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Then the inevitable team up where Godzilla and Kong tag team Mechagodzilla. Early prediction before they both go their separate ways, similar to the ending of the 1960s King Kong vs. Godzilla movie. You guys can let me know in the comments, though, if you actually legit think that at the end of the film, after the final fights are done, after they take care of Mechagodzilla, there will be a clear winner, Godzilla or Kong. The way they're hyping it up, though, they make it seem like Kong goes down hard during this carrier fight, like Godzilla is the clear winner, but then Kong rallies later in the film and has a much better showing during the Mechagodzilla fight. So by the end of the film, when he has a special axe and he helps take down Mechagodzilla, he comes out seeming like more of a winner than he did earlier in the film. Post all your theories about what that means for Godzilla during the film, though. But then you have a bunch more footage of the battles and some more footage of the Hollow Earth, which actually looks pretty fantastic. You have the little girl communicating with Kong, who's kind of adopted her in his own giant way. This footage here is a little too dark, so I can't tell exactly which city Godzilla is swimming up to. This might be one of the scenes where Godzilla goes looking for Mechagodzilla and starts attacking these cities, or makes it seem like he's attacking cities, and they try to play it that way, but really he's just looking for where they're keeping Mechagodzilla to try and take it out. And because it does seem like they're going to continue with the Godzilla franchise, just because it seems like they're going to renew their license with Toho, I am wondering if they're ever going to do Easter eggs for Godzilla offspring as well. Like maybe in some of these future films, you'll have people trying to steal Godzilla's offspring, and then that's what really pisses them off. But I think most of the idea in this film, Godzilla vs. Kong, is that Godzilla is trying to get rid of Mechagodzilla. Then there's a bunch more footage of a couple of the other different battles, the carrier battle, then later in the movie in one of the cities. Then a couple new scenes from that bigger fight scene of Godzilla vs. Kong inside what looks like Hong Kong amongst all the neon signs, with him opening up in his atomic breath while Kong is using his new axe to absorb the energy. It's hard to tell when this Hollow Earth scene takes place, but I'm assuming it's earlier in the film when they come to take Kong. They did say during this movie we're going to learn more about the ancient War of the Titans, like the ancient rivalry that they keep referring to during all these trailers that Kong and Godzilla had. Then you get that tag scene of Millie Bobby Brown and the others inside the Monarch facility, and then that scene of them just giving each other the classic challenge, just screaming in each other's faces like, "Come on, bro, bring it." There were also some new images of Mechagodzilla and some of the promo materials. As you would expect, he's way more hardcore than the classic versions of the character. If this is accurate, it seems like it's pretty accurate to what he looks like in the film. Just modernizing him the same way that they modernized the designs for Kong, Godzilla, and all the other Titans in the new films. A lot of you were also commenting on my earlier trailer videos too about how they've tweaked Godzilla's design just a little bit, because in the earlier films, at least in the newer Monsterverse films like King of Monsters, his eyes don't light up quite so much when he gives off his atomic breath. I'm assuming they're just doing that to make him pop on screen just a little bit more. But a couple other details that we just learned about the movie is that this first big Godzilla vs. Kong carrier fight lasts for 18 minutes. But I think that includes all the setup, all the lead up, and then the aftermath as well. It's not just 18 minutes of them punching and biting each other. That would be crazy. Like, make all the jokes you want about that epically long Rowdy Roddy Piper and Keith David fight scene from They Live. It just goes on and on forever. But in all this trailer footage, when they keep talking about this ancient history of the Titans and the wars that they had, revealing more about the ancient cultures that worship them as gods, they're mostly talking about Godzilla and Kong's ancestors. Like, these versions that are fighting in this movie that we're watching are just the latest generation of these Titans. Best example of that is during Kong Skull Island, we saw the skeletons of Kong's dead parents. The whole idea too, the longer they live, the bigger they get, so that's why Kong is getting so much bigger, like he was a really young character during the 1970s in that first Kong Skull Island movie. Godzilla would just keep getting bigger and bigger the longer he lived. So when they talk about them being ancient rivals, they're talking about the rivalry between their two species for the last several thousand years. Also, if you guys didn't see, talking more about Skull Island stuff, future of the Kong character, Netflix is actually doing a Skull Island anime series. They call it anime, but I think it's just anime inspired. It's being animated by Powerhouse. They're the same company that does the Netflix Castlevania series, which is top tier animation. It's also very anime inspired, but it's not actual anime. No idea when they're dropping episodes of that or which part of the timeline it's going to take place in or how it's going to fit into the canon. I think it's pretty safe to assume it'll take place sometime before the events of Godzilla vs. Kong, and they'll just use it to introduce a couple of new Titans. And just a big reminder too, because theaters are starting to reopen, if there are theaters near you that are open, they might actually be playing the movie because they're releasing it on HBO Max and in theaters on the same day where theaters are open. But later this month, we also have the Justice League Snyder Cut coming. That's on March 18th. And then the day after that, Marvel's Falcon and Winter Soldier series drops on Disney+, and I'll be doing episode videos for that too. So there is a lot a lot of really big, really cool stuff coming this month. 2021 looking so much better than 2020 so far. If there are any other big Easter eggs that you spotted in this trailer footage that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments, and I'll do more Godzilla vs. Kong trailer videos when they drop more footage. While you wait for everything, click here for my brand new WandaVision Episode 9 trailer video, and click here for all my WandaVision finale predictions. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys tonight.